Diversity, Equity and Inclusion in Action Award. And the finalists are Educating Students About Global Food Supply Chains. CQ University Australia designed this learning module which gives high school students access to the Escavox Food Supply Chain Data Dashboard. Enabling Equity and Inclusion for First Nations people in climate change response. The Australian Red Cross Data Science and Analytics team is exploring how technology can address climate change risks to First Nations people. Overview of Smart Assistive Devices. This work serves to raise awareness that technology standards are required soon to ensure the interoperability of assistive technologies. The Smart Wife. This research project, book and awareness campaign by Monash University's Yolanda Strengers and RMIT University's Jenny Kennedy raised gender concerns about the smart home. Smart Homes for Seniors. Maclean Care, with Monash University and Deakin University, explored how smart home devices can support older people and seniors' hopes and anxieties about those devices. And the winner is Smart Homes for Seniors. Here are some of the judges.
This is the first time that we've done a Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Award at the Australian IoT Awards. And you might ask, why is that? And there are a couple of extremely good reasons. One is that IoT itself is utterly going to be transforming everything that we do and affects everyone. And that we also know that even today, we have digital divide issues with older people, with inclusion for people with disability, and the prevalence and expansion of IoT, if we don't change things, will exacerbate that problem. So we need to start thinking about that at the source. So that's why we've decided to highlight what diverse, equitable and inclusive design looks like and how one might get there, and start highlighting the attributes of that process that will address this problem.
We had a really tough time, and you can tell that by the number of finalists we had this year. And this was really because of the scope and the diversity of the projects that were involved. We had projects that ranged from smart cities to Internet of Things to looking at the environment and the changes that we're all going to have to face in the next few years. So it was really, really encouraging to see these projects that actually not just looked at the sort of society we want, but also the way that different groups of people will work in that society and be able to participate. We had projects that focused on First Nations people, on people with disabilities, on women, on young people, and of course we had our winner, which was Smart Homes for Seniors. This project really exemplified, I think, the essence of this award in that the project was really co-designed with the people that it aimed to help and facilitate and support. Unlike many of the other awards, we had 4 finalists as well as a winner for this category. And part of the reason for that was not only the diversity of the projects, but the way that each project approached this criteria, which was obviously very new at the time. These projects were all scalable and had a great impact. They also aligned with this notion of not only creating good things, but doing that with other people. This was especially true for Smart Homes for Seniors, where the people that the project was meant to support and help, i.e. seniors, were also the people that the project worked with and co-designed with. I really look forward to all of you hearing more and seeing more about these 5 projects, as well as look forward to the applications for next year. One of the light bulb moments for me in this first year of these awards was not just the breadth of and the diversity of the actual applications and applicants, but when we were looking at the projects, the way that these projects could scale for other parts of the community. So that actually by working with one community, we were actually making progress for the rest of Australia. And it's really heartening to see how many people applied for this first year as well.
I was really impressed by a list of our finalists addressing many serious and important issues for Australia across diversity, equality and inclusion, from our seniors living longer and a better life in their own homes, to our First Nations people dealing with climate change in various parts of Australia, to male bias in some of our smart home devices, to understanding our food supply chain and educating our future leaders there, and assisting some of our disabled segments of our population. I think they're tackling a range of problems and different segments of the population that are facing challenges, whether it's engaging with the community, dealing with future issues, and having a better experience or having access. So I think these might be groups that might be disenfranchised, marginalised, have challenges with technology. So I think these are great examples of how they're overcoming this, providing better education, programs to support this, and how some great organisations, universities, and passionate innovators are, trying to address these, but may not be, targeted by large companies or may not be the kind of profitable opportunity. And showing how IoT can address many of these problems. We had the Smart Home Seniors, which is an impressive submission. We know that group is a growing part of the population, living longer, wanting to be more independent. So it's a great example of how IoT can enable solutions in the home, to create that better experience. But also, I was quite impressed by there's a program and support around this as well to implement, to work with the users. It was very much based on research and a lot of kind of strong customer input. It wasn't so much a technology solution trying to find a problem, but it was addressing a real world problem, a large group of the population, and showing how IoT can support them in living a longer, more enjoyable and independent life in the home. Another great submission we had was from Monash University called the Smart Wife project, which is addressing potential bias that we have in smart home devices, voice activated or directed or controlled. So it's something that we don't always think about. It's actually but quite an important issue to address. Another important issue and great submission we had was from the Red Cross Australia, which was looking at climate change issues for our First Nations people. And this is critical for you live in some of our remote and regional areas that are going to be heavily impacted by climate change. So this was all about how we get those communities involved, educating, understanding and dealing with climate change, and how we use technology and IoT to both monitor, track, and proactively kind of manage some of that change.